You're going to learn all about Nevada Promise and what that is. So this scholarship, however, you wouldn't have access to it until you are a high school senior, and that's when you want to apply. But anyway, let me introduce the Nevada Promise team here. We are part of the recruitment office at TMCC. So I have the pleasure of working with some great colleagues who get the word out about Nevada Promise, to the community, to the high schools. And I do a lot of the administrative work with Nevada Promise. I do have the pleasure of sometimes doing events like this where I'm able to meet students and families. So I also enjoy that. We do have a team of student workers. That's something that will be available to you, when you go to college, the possibility of working on campus. And so when you get there, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to help. But we do have some amazing student workers, and I always have to give out a shout out to them, because without their support in this program, my job would be a lot harder. So they are the ones responding to emails. We have Kenzie and Janaea as well. And Kenzie N has been with us for 3 years. 3 years. Kenzie R has been with us for now 2 years, and Janaea is new to the team. So we're really happy to have her. So if you don't mind, throwing it in the chat, have you heard about Nevada Promise? Did you hear it from your counselor, maybe from the event, flyer or Facebook? Where did you hear about Nevada Promise? So Nevada Promise is a scholarship. It's a state-funded scholarship that all high school seniors are able to apply to. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. What are the requirements for the scholarship, and what makes you eligible for the Nevada Promise Scholarship? Please feel free to, in the chat, let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to cover those now as we go through the presentation. But yes, so here we go. The eligibility requirements, as I mentioned, you do have to be a high school senior. It's a one-time application, so you only have to apply once. You do have to graduate from a high school in Nevada. And so even if we have students who are moving to the area during high school senior year, as long as they apply to the scholarship and graduate from a Nevada high school, then they would be eligible. If we have any students who are maybe not taking the traditional route and are going to an adult learning environment, that's okay, as long as they apply to the scholarship before they are 20 years of age, and they will need to take the GED in order to become eligible. Any homeschool students will also qualify for the scholarship, as long as they too also have to take the GED. And then if anyone who who does not have an associate's degree also qualifies for the scholarship. And I think this really does open up the doors for a lot of students, right? Maybe, as I mentioned, maybe they didn't go the traditional route, maybe they are homeschooled, or maybe dropped out of high school at one point and then finished their GED before the age of 20, then this still gives them the opportunity to attend college. It is a last dollar scholarship, and so what that means is if students qualify for any of these 4 awards, then and if there's a remaining balance, then Nevada Promise would kick in and pay the remainder of the fees. So right here we have a list of them. The Pell Grant, federal Pell Grant, is one that will be considered. Supplemental Educational Grant, Silver State Opportunity Grant, and the Millennium Scholarship. I think a lot of us know the Millennium Scholarship as like 10th graders, 11th grade. I would encourage you to check in with your counselor, see where's your standing, right? There are certain GPA requirements for scholarships, the Millennium specifically. So I would connect with them and see if that's something that you may earn. Also, the federal Pell Grant, we'll talk a little bit more about. I think that's another common grant that we all know. And then these two are also awarded through filling out the FAFSA, and we'll talk about that. But let's say in your case, you receive one of these. Let's say just the Millennium Scholarship, because you did well and you're meeting the requirements, the high school requirements for that. Then in that case, this scholarship, again, it can be all of them or a combination. We would use these funds first to pay for tuition, and whatever's left, Nevada Promise would then cover the remainder. So I do have a few examples. Let me go to the examples first. So here, if a student, we're saying that this student is having to pay about $1,400. It's a little bit higher now, $1,400 out of pocket. Let's say they only received the Millennium Scholarship. That's going to be, if you're attending TMCC, you're looking at $480 per semester that you would be receiving from the Millennium Scholarship. And so in this case, students still have a balance of about $855. And let's say you don't have any other scholarships. You don't have the Pell Grant, you don't have SSOG. In this case, Nevada Promise will then pay for your fees. Again, this is if students are eligible and they do earn Nevada Promise. Some students may have a surplus because the Pell Grant will award students, I've seen as low as $500 per semester and as high as $3,000. It will just really depend on the need of the student. But in this student's case, and this is true, you know, we've seen this in the last few years. If they're receiving $3,000 per semester, then there is no need for Nevada Promise. They are being fully covered through federal Pell Grant. And so in this semester, they won't need the scholarship. They would get extra money to help them pay for books. And I don't have my last example, but let's say you didn't receive, let's go back to this question here, or this example here. Let's say you didn't qualify for a federal Pell Grant or the Millennium Scholarship. In that case, Nevada Promise would pay about like 95% of your tuition. And I'm gonna break it down for you. So at TMCC, the per credit fee is $106.75 per credit. Most courses are about 12, or a full load is 12 credits with one class being 3 credits. So that's why we gave the example of a student having a total balance due of $1,400 or so. Nevada Promise would pay the per credit fee, the technology fee, and these all range between $5 to $10 each. The sports complex fee, student association fee. It is everything that we cover. And so again, in different scenarios, a student may be covered, I've seen as high as $1,500 because they don't have any gift aid, right? They don't have any of these. But let's say they did have the Millennium Scholarship, then a student would only need about $800 from Nevada Promise. So it just really will depend on what you qualify for. I think the main takeaway is that You will be attending college debt-free because for the majority of the cost of attendance, right, the cost of your classes will be covered by Nevada Promise. Now, there are other expenses to attending college, right? These are fees that we don't cover under Nevada Promise. Books, and they'll vary. You know, it could be anywhere between $150 to $300 per semester. We don't cover the distance education fee. So if there's an online course, that may have a $15 flat rate for the whole semester. Lab fees, again, 15 as low as $15 to $50, depending on the program. And then an application fee of $20 to apply to TMCC. The application fee to apply to TMCC is not something that you have to pay up front. It'll just be added to your total once you enroll into classes. So this scholarship it will cover students for up to 3 years. So that means when you graduate high school and you complete the requirements, you attend TMCC, then the scholarship is with you for up to 3 years. We are just entering that year now for our first graduating cohort. They graduated from high school in 2018. They were our first applicants, and now they're entering their last year of college. So that's really exciting to see that they are coming by. They're getting to the point where they're going to graduate from TMCC. So there are no income requirements for this scholarship. There are no high school GPA requirements, but students do have to be degree seeking. That means declare a major at TMCC. And they do have to enroll immediately after they graduate from their high school. They have to enroll full time at TMCC. I keep saying TMCC, but really I'm such a huge advocate of higher education that I do like to tell students and inform you that I did mention, right, Nevada Promise is a statewide scholarship. So yes, we hope that you choose TMCC, that you come to our institution, but this scholarship may also be used at any of the community colleges in the state of Nevada. So that could be College CSN, College of Southern Nevada in Las Vegas, GBC, Great Basin in Elko, or WNC, Western College in Carson City. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I know this is a lot of information right now. I can definitely stop if you guys have any questions. Feel free to turn on your mic. We don't have too many participants. Or go ahead and you can include your question in the chat, okay? So let's say you received, and we do encourage students to apply for, oh, I don't know how I did that. We do encourage students to apply to any community scholarships, such as, you know, like the Hot August Nights scholarship. I think the Nugget has one. Nevada Women's Fund. We encourage you to apply to your high school scholarships, because if you do earn those, then that's not considered gift aid. It's not any of these four, and it's not Nevada Promise. So anything outside of that, you will be receiving back to you. You've earned it. You've applied, you earned it. It's going to be awarded to you. And so then those funds can be used for these expenses. For books, that's going to be helpful. So I do have to say that Nevada Promise is so new. As I mentioned, we kicked it off in 2017. This is our third year, or entering our fourth year. And so it's so new and it's state funded. So we never really know the future of Nevada meets. So that's coming up in spring 2021. So we do encourage you to apply, and I'm hoping that everything goes well and Nevada Promise is continued, the funding continues to come in from the state, but it is so new that we just don't know. So we do need to let students know that if they are current Nevada Promise scholars, they're currently in college and have earned the scholarship, then they will be first priority. They will be funded first. And then second would be any new student. So Nevada Promise is more than a scholarship, it's a program. And so we say that because we do provide a lot of wraparound services. We help students, we're their main point of contact at TMCC. We're there to help them navigate, the different, the new things that come along with college, right? With applying to the college, new student orientation, financial aid. We're definitely here to help you all. We're not always going to know all the answers, but we definitely know who to talk to, who to reach out to for help. We remind students that they have upcoming deadlines, and a lot of the deadlines that you have with Nevada Promise are also aligned with just every new incoming student. They have to complete those requirements anyway. We just give you all a deadline. And we see that that helps our students to be more prepared once they do start college at TMCC. So we are offer different opportunities. You're the first ones to know about different programs, about employment at TMCC. I think one of the major benefits is having priority registration, which means that you guys would have first pick at your classes before any other incoming freshmen. And so that's great for those who need to work, who have younger siblings and maybe have to pick up, do like pick up or drop off, or any other, maybe you're not a morning person, right? You don't want to be stuck taking a class at 8 a.m. You have the liberty once you are in college to choose your schedule. So we want to give that to you. Here are some numbers and figures that I like to share. So as I mentioned, class of 2018 was our first cohort. And so we had a total of 318 complete all of the steps. If you're looking at this, it says recipient versus student. So as I mentioned, some students will not need financial help from Nevada Promise. They can definitely help, need the help or use the help with everything else that we offer. But at least sometimes they don't need the scholarship. So about half of our students do earn the scholarship or are in need of it, and about the other half don't. Again, we encourage you, regardless of which student you are, that you continue with Nevada Promise, that you complete the steps every year, that you stay connected to us, because there are a lot of benefits. Here's our second cohort, 2019. We had 440. And so all of these students attended college debt-free. That is the main goal of the program, is that you guys are not having to take out different loans or We encourage students not to work if they don't have to, right? Their college is being paid for. I like to show this as well here. So funded, anyone or not funded, anyone who did not receive the scholarship, who received the scholarship, and then we're comparing them to all new students who are full-time and are degree seeking. So they're basically the same type of student as Nevada Promise, but these students did not apply to the scholarship. And so we're seeing that the persistence rate is about 85%, meaning that they started college in 2019, fall 2019, and then they returned in fall, oh no, this would have been fall 2018, and they returned in fall 2019 at 85%, compared to 74% of those who did not who did not apply to the scholarship. So it's just meaning that our students are coming back and they're doing well in their classes. As I mentioned, Nevada Promise is a statewide scholarship, and all of the steps are set by Nevada state law. And so they are very strict. If ever a student misses a deadline, then unfortunately they lose eligibility. There's no way to regain it. So we tell students, plan ahead, reach out when you have questions. When in doubt, reach out, because you guys will get a lot of notification, regardless if you go to TMCC, UNR, UNLV, any college that you go to, they will be sending you different notifications about financial aid and your classes, and you need to do this as an incoming student. So whenever you guys don't know, what is this email trying to tell me, we encourage you to reach out and ask questions. And we find that those students are the most successful because we're able to help them, and they're able to understand, or we're able to connect them with other people. So although there are a total of 10 steps for Nevada Promise, I know that I don't have a whole lot of time, and you guys will hear this again definitely when you are a senior if you apply. But I just wanted to point out some of the main requirements and something that makes us different from other scholarships. So this one's pretty normal, right? You apply to the scholarship. We do have a deadline of October 31st every year. When you are a senior, that's when you want to apply, before October 31st. We do ask you to have only one active application. So as I mentioned, you're able to apply to other institutions, right? And so we only want you to apply to one institution for Nevada Promise. And if you choose to then attend a different college, then it's very easy to transfer your application. This is what the, and who knows if it'll change once you guys apply, but our application is very simple. I'll just ask you personal questions. There is no essay component to it. You only apply during high school, and then you don't have to apply each year. Basically, we have your information in the system and your application is renewed as long as you complete all the requirements. It is important that you check your email, that you keep your confirmation email, and so that's how you'll know that we received your application. The second step is to complete a Nevada Promise training. So it's very much like today. In the past, we've had students come to TMCC in person, and that's great. I actually miss those days where we had interaction. It's a time where we go over all of the information about Nevada Promise, your deadlines. How are you going to complete the training? You know, how are you going to record X, Y, Z? You know, so that's the time that we get to know you all, and you guys get to know us. This year, we've moved to Zoom, and so we have virtual webinars. And we've always used an online course, so that's definitely an option. But we see most who are they'll come in person or complete the virtual webinar versus the course. The online course is mostly used by students who are in county. So yeah, this is a time where you'll learn all about Nevada Promise again and how to track all your steps. We do, if you are a senior today, we ask you that you apply for the fall 2021 school year. That application is now available. This is also a requirement, and I don't know that it's different from any ships, but one thing that we do hear a lot is, well, I know I'm not going to qualify for any federal aid. Maybe my family makes too much, you know, but your number 4 step here is to complete the financial aid, the FAFSA application. And that's the free application for federal student aid. Through that, I think I have a slide. Through the FAFSA, we do determine, the federal government and the state will determine, do you qualify for any federal grants, such as the Pell Grant? Do you qualify for any state grants, such as the Silver State Opportunity Grant? This is also where you'll know if you qualify for work study, so that you can work at TMCC. And then also loans. So that's going to be a requirement regardless. For the FAFSA, you do need to have a social security number to be able to fill this out. If students don't, then we have an alternative form, the non-FAFSA filer, and you guys are able to fill that out and work with us. And as long as there is funding, then students will be eligible. So step number 7 will be to meet with a mentor. I think this is very different from any other scholarship, where one of the steps is that we match you to a mentor, and students have to meet with this mentor. And who are our mentors? They are volunteers, first of all. They come from all different paths of life. So they may be professionals at TMCC, maybe they're professors, maybe they work at Renewal or Tesla or are in the private sector. And so the goal is that you have another individual who is an adult who is also there to help you during this time. So often our mentors do reach out to our office, and they're there to help you all with your questions, you know, about new student orientation, or maybe you have questions about who do I contact in financial aid. They're here for that, but also just to learn about their personal experiences, right? Like their educational background, what is the work that you do, any life lessons, you know, maybe helping you with resumes or internships. Networking is huge. I think when I think of mentorship, I think of networking as well. So we want to connect you with somebody in the community that will be able to help you during your transition from high school to college. Sometimes, so we do assign you while you are in high school. And then after that, you're only required to meet once when you are in high school with your mentor. And then after that, it's going to be once per semester when you are in college. One of the other steps is to complete 8 hours of community service. This has to be with a nonprofit or public service organization. And so the idea behind community service, right, is that we are giving back to our community who gave to you. So as I mentioned, Nevada Promise is state funded. So we're just telling everybody in the community, thank you for your support, because of people who pay taxes are able to then funnel this the money into Nevada Promise. And then that's how students are able to earn the scholarship. Again, I also think of networking with community service because you're able to meet with people, meet other Nevada Promise scholars, yeah, and just give back to the community. So I think this is a really great step. And as I mentioned, lastly, register for classes into at least 12 credits. It has to be every semester. And then we give students the deadline. And at any Nevada institution, whether a 2-year community college or university, we do want students to enroll into math and English each semester until they complete those requirements for their degree. And that is it for me. As I mentioned, there are other steps, mainly geared towards getting you ready to start at TMCC. But I did just want to give you an overview and then, of course, open it up to questions.
Well, I don't know if I missed in the beginning. It sounded like there wasn't a lot of requirements for this. Is that true? It said there's no income requirements, no high school GPA requirement, but they must be degree seeking.
Correct. Yeah, so that's something that I really love about project specific requirements graduating from high school.
Right, okay, definitely.
So these are the main ones where students have to graduate high school. And then as long as they don't earn an associate's degree, because we have students like at TMCC high school or take dual credit. And so some of them do earn an AA. And so, and that's true too. Like if a student comes to TMCC with a lot of college credit, they may only be with us for a semester, a year. And even though we say the scholarship, that's why we say the scholarship will be with you for up to 3 years. Because at some point, before that, you could graduate with an AA, an associate's degree, and then that would terminate the eligibility for a student. But other than that, there is no income requirement. There is no GPA requirement while they are in high school.
While they're in high school. Okay, and this is only for community colleges for sure, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a great program.
Yeah, and then the other requirements, they are degree seeking. Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today.